You know, every single town has its secrets. Those whispered rumors, the ghost stories everyone claims to just completely brush off, right? At least until they find themselves totally alone in the dark. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be dissecting a seriously chilling piece of local lore today, the legend of the 3 a.m. bus. It's like this universal truth of folklore. Every town has that one story people are just too terrified to talk about, especially in the daylight. In this town, it's a bus. Now, I want you to picture this. A completely empty road, late at night, just utterly swallowed by this thick, heavy fog. The only thing you can see is a single, flickering streetlight barely illuminating a lonely bus stop. So the facts of this legend are actually terrifyingly specific. The story goes that every single night at exactly 3 a.m. on the dot, an old bus just appears, out of literally nowhere. There's no transit authority running it, nobody knows its actual route, and here is the absolute worst part. Whoever actually gets on this transit, they are never seen again. Ever. Well, enter our guy, Jake. Jake completely laughed at the legend. He firmly believed ghosts just weren't real, so he decided he was going to wait for this bus himself and prove everyone wrong. Armed with just a black hoodie, his phone, and a whole lot of skepticism, he heads down to that exact empty bus stop in the dead of night. Okay, so let's walk through the timeline here. It's 2:58 a.m. Jake is just sitting there on the bench, waiting alone, probably scrolling on his phone. But then his digital watch ticks over to 2:59. Suddenly, this really intense, unnatural wind starts blowing and swirling the fog all around him. And then, the clock hits exactly 3. The very second that clock hits 3, these incredibly bright headlights suddenly cut right through the fog. This rusty, abandoned-looking bus slowly emerges from the mist. It's a total sensory nightmare. Imagine the sound of those heavy wheels just grinding to a halt in the dirt, followed by the loud, echoing creak of the doors finally opening up. Jake is standing there right at the door, naturally hesitating. The driver is just staring back at him. Pale face, these totally dark, hollow eyes, and a slow smile kind of creeping across his face. Then, the driver looks at him and just whispers, "Last seat. Get in." And somehow, despite his fear, Jake actually steps inside. Once he's inside, the air is just completely heavy with this dead, suffocating silence. Because you see, the bus isn't empty at all. There are dozens of passengers sitting in the seats, but they are sitting perfectly still. Just empty expressions staring straight ahead. Nobody is blinking, nobody is even breathing. Now think about normal late-night passengers. You'd expect people to be nodding off, maybe looking out the window, right? But as Jake looks past these people toward the glass, he makes this blood-curdling discovery. None of them cast a reflection. None of them. When he looks in the window, every single one of those seats is completely empty. At this point, pure fear completely takes over. Jake just absolutely panics. He jumps straight off the bus and into the fog. He is sprinting down the road, breathing heavy, completely refusing to look back. Finally, he stops to catch his breath. He turns around and the road is empty. The bus has completely vanished into the darkness. Jake actually thinks he survived. But then as the adrenaline starts to kind of wear off, he realizes he's holding something. He slowly opens his hand, and lying right there in his palm is an old, dusty transit ticket. He didn't actually escape empty-handed after all. He brushes off the dust on this ticket and reads what's printed on it. 7 horrifying words. "Your journey isn't over. We'll be back tomorrow." This wasn't just some random ghost sighting. It was a supernatural threat. And now, the bus knows exactly who he is. The aftermath of this cold case is just incredibly grim. The next morning, the police launch an investigation, but they found absolutely nothing at the scene. Nothing, except for that dusty ticket just lying there near the bench. And as for Jake, well, exactly like the legend warned, he was literally never seen again. So, what does this all mean? Honestly, Jake's story is just a really dark reminder that some legends are absolutely better left untested. So, I want to leave you with this one deeply unsettling thought. Imagine you're standing there, alone in the fog. The clock strikes 3. Those rusty doors creak open. If the 3 a.m. bus stopped right in front of you, would you get on?